Welcome back, everyone. Glad you could join me here today on our Friday review, episode 2576 of the Cabral Concept. If you want to get the 3 big takeaways for today, as well as the 2 research studies, I'll leave the citations right there, direct links to them, of course, so you can check them out. I also am going to be going over some product reviews today, so absolutely want you to check those out too. And all of that will be at stephencabral.com/2576. Let's get started. So I always love being able to start these Friday reviews just with a little update as to what's going on, kind of what's going through the mind, even though I send you my Sunday Rewind email. Hopefully you get that. There's a little bit of a difference between a Friday, it's the end of the week. I have a different mentality. It's like, wow, I started off the week with saying I have to get all these things accomplished. This is what I'm looking to do. And then by the end of the week, I'm saying, where did the time go? And so it's always like you start the week thinking you have so much time and you have so much to do, and then you do the best that you can. You typically never get 100% of everything you want done. I actually believe a little bit in that, meaning like if you didn't stretch yourself a little bit, you might be leaving a little bit on the table. But when Friday comes, I'm also looking to say, listen, I want a couple days now to recharge. I want a couple days of downtime with my family so that I can then have the energy and excitement to do it again. But one of the things is, it's interesting because as we move towards the end of the month, as we're moving towards now the end of February, what I like to share with you too is that I'm always thinking about, it's the end of the month. And if you're using the 12-week year system, like I definitely recommend, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, after next week, I only have 30 days. I've got 4 weeks, just a little bit more to see if I'm on track with my goals for the first quarter of the year. And again, you might be listening to this in the 4th quarter of the year, 3rd quarter. Apply it to wherever you're at right now in your year. Are you accomplishing what you want to accomplish? The reason why I love the 12-week year, if you don't know what the 12-week year is, I'll link to the previous episodes below here at stephencabral.com/2576. But one of the reasons why this is so important is because most people set a goal for the year and they just think they have all the time in the world. It's kind of like the Monday through Friday, right? But eventually they realize like, September's here. I haven't really worked on my goals. And so they get back into the school year or they get back into the work, place after the summer. And then all of a sudden now we're here in October and people then really start to buckle down on their goals. By then though, it's too late. It's not that it's too late, but you missed the time that you could really tackle these goals because you only have 6 weeks left really before Thanksgiving here in the US. You start to roll into the holidays. But also, again, what a lot of people, and myself included, you don't realize in the beginning when you're trying to achieve a certain goal is that you don't even know what you don't know and you have to actually just get started. And then you make mistakes along the way and you overcome challenges. And then you really figure out then, this is what I need to be doing. And that just takes time. Achieving goals, anything worthwhile just takes time. So all that to say is let's continue to move forward. Let's continue to work on our goals this year. And of course, reach out if we can be any help. So that is that. I also wanted to share with you, this is the last week to get in to become an integrative health practitioner. Please do so if you've been thinking about becoming a certified health coach or you're learning how to heal yourself and then go on to be able to heal others in your family, your community, your friends. I truly believe that in the world that we live in right now, there must be a health coach in every home. Be that health coach in your home, for your siblings, for your parents or grandparents, or for your children. Be that person. You can find out more at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. All right. What's going on over at EquiLife this week? 25% off all single labs. We want to make sure that if you have not yet achieved your New Year's goals, whether it be wellness-based, weight loss, or weight gain-based, or anti-aging, let's find out why. Let's go a little bit deeper into your health. So right now, save 25% off at looking at your IGF-1 growth hormone levels, or testosterone, or estrogen, or progesterone, DHEA, cortisol, TSH for thyroid. Again, 25% off. Head on over to stephencabral.com/shop. Take advantage of these huge savings on low-cost at-home lab testing. All right, recap of the week for the Cabral Concept on Monday's show was, are you looking to be average or are you obsessed? Now, it's a very interesting one. I loved this one. I shared with you an email, and I actually shared with you why it's okay to be average in some areas of your life. It really is. And so I try to give you a realistic play. Like, you can't be great at everything. That's not how the world works. I mean, maybe some people are, but it's difficult for most of us humans to be great at everything we do. And I shared with you kind of a success formula there. So definitely check that out. That was episode 2572. And again, make sure you're reading those Sunday Rewind emails. I send about 3 a month, 3 out of 4 weekends a month. I write that Sunday Rewind. It's basically where my mind is at, what I've been seeing in the practice, and I try to share with you real world philosophies right there. And then usually we send a Wednesday email out on product reviews. And so those are a lot of the favorite things that we're using right now in our practice. All right, Tuesday's show was avoid these 10 things to prevent cancer. We went over a Biggest Loser style weight loss and how it causes actually a broken metabolism, a slow metabolism. You want to check that out. You want to check the studies. And the good news is something can be done about it, but I shared that as well. All right, yesterday's show was the top 9 symptoms of heavy metal toxicity. They're all going to be available at stephencabral.com/podcasts. All right, product review of the week. This is by popular demand. Someone literally wrote in and they said, hey, I went through your podcast. So they went to stephencabral.com/podcast. There's a search box. It looks through 2,575 previous podcasts to today. And they said, I didn't see a product review on royal jelly. And I said, you know what? Even though I did all of the vitamins and minerals, I gave you kind of like exactly what they do in your body. Now that was like 3 years ago. And then last year I went through all of the herb. I did an herb of the week and I tell you all about herbs. I don't actually think that I went through royal jelly. And lo and behold, I didn't. So again, I love being able to make this show about you. I mean, what you're looking to learn. So I would love to be able to go over royal jelly. Just so happens, again, I have some here in my cabinet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link up some of the brands I recommend at stephencabral.com/resources. EquiLife does not make a royal jelly, nor will they ever make any type of royal jelly or honey or propolis or any of those things. But we keep these on hand for myself and my kids. Now, I'm going to tell you about a product they make that's kind of a 3-in-1 that'll probably be easier for you. But I wanted to give you, are there benefits of royal jelly? And so this is not a controversial product at all. So if anybody's familiar with royal jelly, interesting name, and the reason is this. So basically it's like a gel, it's like a goo or a jelly, right? And it's produced by honeybees inside of the, what do you want to call it, a nest, a honeycomb. And what they do is they actually produce that for their young, right? So for their babies, and they produce it exclusively for the queen. And there's one queen per hive. That's the word I was looking for, hive. And so this is pretty phenomenal. Here's why. The queen is about, I think, like 3 to 4 times the size of normal honeybees, and it lives for about 3 to 4 years, or 3 to 4x longer than a regular honeybee. So typically the larger something is, well, I shouldn't say that, but at least in humans, the larger sometimes don't necessarily live as long. And so we kind of look at that in different animals, and sometimes that has to do with growth hormones and IGF-1, etc. But the queen bee kind of defies all odds. And what she eats exclusively, though, that the other bees don't eat, is royal jelly. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to live to 300 or 400 years old. I'm not saying that. But there's some interesting nutrients in it, so I wanted to take you through that here today. Royal jelly is made up of water, carbs, protein, fat. It's literally a food. Now, how they get it into this capsule is that they actually freeze dry it. So they take a couple grams, they freeze dry it down to like 500 milligrams. That's kind of the typical dosage. And what it does is it contains what's called glycoproteins. So, excuse me, there's 9 glycoproteins, and they're called royal jelly proteins. Pretty cool. Major royal jelly proteins, MRJPs. And what they can include, though, are pretty much all of the B vitamins and a lot of trace minerals. But it is not believed that those B vitamins and the trace minerals are actually what confer a lot of the value. There seems to be properties that we humans don't necessarily know all about. But we do know that there are specific enzymes and there are powerful antioxidants that may provide a lot of these benefits. So I just want to share with you some of the main benefits real quick that are being studied right now. So every single one of these are being studied. A lot of them are lab rat-based studies. And so again, say what you want about them, but they're still beneficial studies. So a lot of antioxidants, potentially anti-inflammatory properties, helping with heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, skin repair, wound repair, helping specifically with blood sugar dysregulation and oxidative stress. This is interesting because, again, remember, all of the top causes of mortality are high blood pressure, high cholesterol, but basically heart disease, not just high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, and cancer. And there are some potential benefits maybe for cancer as well. Shows that it is helpful for a healthy brain. Just keep in mind, like how is it helping all these different things? Keep in mind, a lot of these things that look like panaceas are actually very powerful antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress. I've got lots of podcasts on oxidative stress and reactive oxygen species. If you can reduce free radical damage, then you can improve every area of your body, all the blood vessels in the brain as well. So that's why, again, powerful. I'm not saying you can't eat meat or protein or any of those things or healthy fat, but you have to keep in mind, brightly colored fruits and vegetables, plant-based antioxidants, things like royal jelly, they're very, very helpful. All right, so it can work on anti-aging, helping overall immune system, and may even be beneficial for some symptoms related to menopause, such as pain or some maybe forgetfulness, memory loss, low mood. Really impressive. Again, it's not a panacea. I'm not trying to make it out to be. This is not going to replace, all of your great vitamins and minerals or whole food diet or probiotic or anything like that, right? But what it does, though, is, again, it provides a lot of great, powerful nutrients. So when do I use a product like this? When I'm feeling run down. So for me, I have an enormous supplement cabinet. I'm not saying that you should have the same, but I have hundreds of nutritional supplements. So when someone's like, oh, you should talk about royal jelly, I'm like, oh, let me see if I have any royal jelly. I haven't taken it in a while, but lo and behold, here it is. And so I have that, and right next to it from the same company, again, please go to stephencabral.com/resources. We try to update all of our recommendations if there's ever better ones available. But this one's by EcoBee Farms, and I have their propolis as well. I typically am taking these at the same time. 1,200 to 2,000 milligrams of propolis and 500 to 1,000 milligrams of royal jelly. Now, the nice thing is the same company makes one with both of them combined. So if you're looking to do that, make it easy, you can. The last thing I just want to share in this, and I know I'm talking a lot about it here today, but I know that there's interest from at least one person, so I want to give them their due, is that for people with higher levels of histamines or potentially gut imbalances, I wouldn't use these yet. I would fix your gut first, doing something like the CBO protocol and the CBO finisher and repopulating, and then you can ease these in if you're ever feeling run down, and that might be a nice way to use it. Just because, again, they can add to your histamine load, and they can add to your fructan load as well, and that might disrupt your gut flora if it's not balanced. But again, great products. But again, there's not ever an all for one, right? Last point I want to make is besides capsules, there's a great company called Beekeepers. And Beekeepers is something that my family uses. I have no relation to them. I don't know them at all. But it's called Beekeepers Natural, and it's called Superfood Honey. And their Superfood Honey actually has royal jelly, propolis, and bee pollen. Again, not for people with histamine issues, allergies, environmental allergies. You can start to use little by little if you want. I've talked about that before, the honey protocol for allergies. But just keep in mind, that's a great product. I'll link that up at stephencabral.com/resources. And then I'll talk about maybe some of the throat sprays my daughters use, things like that in the future. So hopefully this was helpful. If I haven't talked about propolis, well, then I'll do a show on propolis in the future too. Okay, thanks. Appreciate someone writing in with that. And then book review this week is actually going to be a video. So there's a book that I've talked about for many, many years. It's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Dr. Joseph Murphy was a theologian. I highly recommend reading that book if you've never read the book before. I've talked about it many times inside of IHP. I've talked about it on the podcast. It is a great book. And it just talks about how we are aware of our conscious mind. We are typically, as humans, not aware of our subconscious mind. When I learned about the subconscious mind in my early 20s, everything changed. I was skeptical. I was apprehensive about believing. Eventually, I began to understand the science behind it, and I believe it is the greatest single factor in our overall success and happiness and fulfilling our potential in life. I really believe that. So there's a video I didn't ever know that it's actually not a video, it's just the audio, but it shows his face. I didn't know that Dr. Joseph Murphy was ever on audio, and I love being able to sometimes like listen to like the old Carl Jung actually speaking. Amazing. I'm a fan of his overall work, right? And same with Dr. Joseph Murphy. But keep in mind, if he says something that you don't necessarily believe in, or you're a very religious person in a specific religion, and he says something that you don't believe in for your religion, don't throw the whole thing out. It doesn't mean that. It's like, take what you feel is helpful for you. You don't need to throw away your religion. You don't need to say no to your religion, but you can also look at just different perspectives, and someone may just have a different way of translating it and saying it as well. And so if we keep our minds open and we don't let a specific dogma, which is not necessarily a bad thing, it's like how we live our life, don't let it impede you as to making progress in different areas, right? Keep your religion, keep your faith. I would never be one to say you should not do that. I think it's a beautiful thing. But what I want you to do is just also keep your mind open to other possibilities that would enable you to reach your highest potential. So I'm going to link that up here today. If I can, I'll just embed the video. It's a YouTube video, and it was just serendipitous. It popped up. I must have been searching some other category of mindset and motivation, and that finally came around. So really, really serendipitous, and I wanted to share that with you. All right, 2 research studies for the day. The first one is on chronic pain. So this is actually from one of the host calls. Someone's asking me about chronic Achilles pain. Achilles tendon is basically right now the calcaneus, the heel of the foot, and it goes all the way up through the calf. And so they talked about all sorts of different pain, and they've had so many operations. And I actually shared with them this thing called a TENS unit. And what I wanted to do, and I'm just then perusing through my different newsletters, and I actually found this study, and so I wanted to share that with you. Transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, for people who want to know what TENS stands for. But you can get a TENS unit right on Amazon, probably. I'll see if I can link to one. Okay, so let's get started here. So it says, this is by he's a PhD, Dr. Corey Glockner, and it is done out of John Carroll University in University Heights, Ohio, and it was published in Journal of Neural Engineering, neural being like the nervous system and neural synapses. So let's see. Chronic pain may be reduced by broadband sound plus electrical stimulation. In guinea pigs, this combination activated neurons in a way that suggests it could be an effective non-opioid, so non-drug option for chronic pain control. Human trials will begin soon. Broadband audio files, white noise is one kind, are free online, and TENS units, which deliver electrical stimulation, are available for under $50. Precise timing, intensity, and location of electrical stimulation matter. Treatment requires a consultation with a healthcare provider. Okay, technically it doesn't. You can use a TENS unit right at home, although it is better, of course, to be under qualified care. A physical therapist is able to do this. So keep in mind, almost all physical therapists or muscular therapists have and use TENS units. I had my first experience with them when I was around 17, 18 years old when I tore my Achilles tendon. And I had this unit. So it's basically 2 gel-like devices. I have one. I'm not gonna promote a TENS unit, because I think it is better to work with someone physical therapy wise and have that TENS unit used. So interesting studies. The studies are already out there. I know this one said it's going to be doing more human studies. The studies are there. TENS units help with rehabilitation, bringing blood flow to the area. They also overload the neural circuitry, which then kind of shuts down the pain response. Because pain is essentially a signal from a specific area from the brain to that localized area where you feel the pain. I could go deep into this. I've studied pain in depth, and it doesn't mean that I'm an expert in it whatsoever, but it's pretty interesting. It's pretty fascinating, with things called gate control theory that I've looked into quite a bit. The Golgi tendon organs, of how you're able to get someone to be twice as flexible within 10 minutes. So really interesting work. And again, I'm not the expert in that area, but I love to look at the research, read the research, and then implement whenever possible. So I'll link this study up for you. And the last study of the day is one that I've shared before, but some people seem to think that it's a myth. And I get it, I understand, but they say, oh, it's just an old, what's the term, old wives' tale, that if you go out in the cold, you could catch a cold. Or if you're in the cold rain, you might get sick. There's actually truth to that. Like, it wouldn't persist most likely to today if there wasn't some truth to it. So traditional Chinese medicine really knew this. They were always protecting against the cold. More so because in different parts of China, it's much, much colder, especially than in India and Kerala, where Ayurveda originated. But before I go too deep down that rabbit hole, I've shared with you before, but I'm going to share with you another study. This one is of the Harvard Medical School Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology. So cold air really does cause colds and flu. Cold air damages the natural immune response in the nose. Reducing the temperature inside the nose by as little as 9 degrees Fahrenheit kills nearly 50%, half, of virus and bacteria fighting nasal cells. These are basically immunoglobulins, so immune cells. Give your nose some extra help by keeping it warm with a scarf or a facial covering. So, why is this important? Because you have to understand is that if you get cold, nasal passages specifically, because that's where, for the most part, viruses are entering, or bacteria as you're breathing for aerosol-based viruses, is that what happens is it actually shrinks the mucosa, and so there's less blood flow, and then there's less, it's very simple, there's less white blood cells that are in the area. I mean, like, it's really that simple. And so it's not like complicated science, but most people have kind of dismissed it for decades now, but nonetheless, it is true. So keep yourself warm. I mean, that's really the bottom line. And traditional Chinese medicine trying to teach us that all the time. It's like, don't get cold. Like that's the big thing. And I shouldn't say that. It's not don't get cold. It's don't get a chill. There's a big difference. Because I'll go outside with just a t-shirt on in the winter, I'll take my dog for a walk, I'll take out the trash, and that's just a thermogenic effect. That is like my body breathing to it, relaxing, bringing heat deeper, more into the core. So like there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for a cold plunge. But you don't want to do a cold plunge for too long, and if you get a chill, believe it or not, that lowers immune cells. So again, there's a time and place for everything, and I just wanted to share that with you. So we'll keep it at that for today. I thank you. I appreciate you. If this Friday review was helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe could serve, and I will be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.